Clark Cougar fans, my name is Patrick Lewis. Thank you guys for joining us on a last Coach's Corner of the season. We are unfortunately under 500 at a record of 10 and 11. Seeds have been made for the high school tournament. We're about ready to get that started, but senior night is upon us this Friday night. Tomorrow night will be senior night here at Clark Montessori High School. Let me introduce the star of the show, Darnell Parker. Last time for the regular season. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be back.
To be back, you're right. You had a little short absence.
Yeah.
For Doug, your assistant coach, coming in here giving us some good, insight about what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of his performance?
He did a good job. I was watching it. I was actually watching it live, so I got a chance to, see him. I think there could be a future for him.
You think so?
On Coach's Corner. Not this one, of course. Not mine, but he'll get his own soon.
That's right. So wait a minute. So I think you were a little jealous of him. Is that what I'm thinking?
Yeah.
I'm
much better looking.
Spotlight.
I'm much better looking than he is.
Okay.
The camera likes me, so.
We'll see. Well, you're both a good-looking dudes. We'll just say that and just be a compromise. So. We're heading to North College Hill. That's our last game. But before we get into North College Hill and our tournament game in a week or two, let's start by talking off a little season in review. Okay? Let's reflect a little bit. We started 500. Through our 10 games, first 10 games, we were 500. And then we hit a pretty good win streak. Okay? We were at around 9-6. And then we hit CHCA, which... Yeah. I know you remember that game. We were up big, and that was the game we had Doug on for right after that. It was tough. It was a tough game. What are some hits? What are some misses that you guys have? And I'm not talking air balls, right?
Yeah.
Let's just talk hard bricks, some things off the backboard type of idea. But in your mind, what have your team done well? What have they done maybe a little bit better?
It has been a strange season in a sense that we've had a lot of highs and then a lot of lows, which when it averages out to pretty much 500, and it's never been because of a lack of effort from the guys' perspective. We've always told them that you guys are giving great effort. Mm-hmm. Our execution has been average at times, and some of the things that we've been trying to correct. But the guys have always played hard, and I think a lot of it has to do with some of the new pieces, we have, whether it be, transfer, whether it be freshmen, guys, stepping into a varsity, limelight for the first time.
Let's speak to some of these.
Yeah.
Because, we've talked a little bit about through the season, and if people are just tuning in for this one and they just want to see a season review type of idea, touch on some of those injuries, touch on some of those transfers that, if you think that, and if you can't talk about it, that's fine, but just touch on what maybe specifics that the fans could get an idea about, what's going on in the Clark Montessori basketball environment.
Obviously this preseason we talked about, bringing this and molding this group together, and right off the bat we lost one of our players in Jacob McElfresh. So you take him out of the equation. And you're now your new lead. You lose Kevin Lewis from last year, and now your new leader is Bryce Butler. But Bryce Butler is a kid who's coming from another school. So a lot of the guys they don't know his tendencies, haven't played with him, very much. So you start to add him in. Mosai Daniel and Micah Blight were the only two returners here at Clark that really had significant varsity minutes. And then we lose Micah, so that leaves. Mosai is our only guy that's had significant Clark varsity minutes. Darius had played, spotty minutes. Noah and Alonzo were both on JV last year. Ashanti, obviously, he's only a freshman. So we were molding some new pieces in that. At times we were able to take advantage of that, but other times, teams with more experience were able to, to get us. And we're hoping now, at this time of year, we're starting to become that team where, hey, we've seen it, we've been in it, we've been in a lot of close games. We've been in about 6 or 7 games where you could easily say, hey, you turn those around and you guys win.
Season, right?
Bidwick, Amelia, CHCA twice, all of those games,
yeah.
even Madeira, the first game of the year, could easily, be wins, but they were losses, and we continue to learn from that.
Right.
And I'm happy with our tournament draw and things like that.
And what is the biggest? We talked a little bit about the cohesiveness and whatnot throughout the season, and in my opinion, that's the biggest thing. When you have injuries, when you have transfers, when you have people that you think you could be relying on throughout the season, you think you're coming in and you're going to be joining the Cougar squad, and all of a sudden you don't have them, and
Right.
you practice without them, or you practice with them, and then you know you can't have them, right? And that's tough. So touch on just the camaraderie and the cohesiveness that you as a head coach have been trying to do with your team this season, and that's tough at any level. If it's not a basketball team, it's maybe something in the corporate spectrum. People have teams all over, right? But speak to it as a basketball coach, having those ups and downs, those things that you can't rely on necessarily from week to week.
As 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, they kind of rely on everything that you say as a coach, and they see the changes in it. They're thinking, what if, and all we continue to tell them is control what you can control. I mean, our guys that are playing cannot control. If a guy's hurt, if another guy is playing, or if he's not playing, you can only control what you can control. And that was the message to them all year. Just keep playing, keep going, keep moving on, move on to the next play, the next practice, the next day. And
adversity, persevere through that adversity.
Yeah, unfortunately for our seniors, it's tough because on paper, you see, this squad, and that's why the game's not played on paper. It's played on the court.
Mm-hmm.
But where I think it will really touch home is with the sophomores. 2 sophomores that have started for us, the freshmen, who has started for us, and some of those guys that Jacob being able to come back, and it'll be. They'll remember this, and they'll use that as fuel going forward, and our seniors will use this as fuel going forward into their lives after basketball.
Lives after basketball, but they're not there yet. Let's stick to North College Hill. North College Hill is they're the king of the division, right? They beat Summit. They had a really close game. One time that they won, it was in the 40s, and they beat them by 2, and then they lost to Summit. So they have only one loss in the conference. They're what is it, 17-3, I think? 17-3 on the season. We're 6-6 in the conference, and it's kind of fitting that we have them as our last game in some respects, because being 500 in the conference, you get a conference game at the end of the season, and you get an opportunity to be above 500, above better than average, right? And you're playing a really good team that beat you pretty bad, a drubbing of 24 points last time around. You get a little, vindication if you come out victorious here. So going into this game, speak to a little bit about, and I know we talked about rebounding before in a lot of coaches shows and how important that is, but I want you to speak about it again today, because one of the major statistics last game was how you guys got out-rebounded.
Right.
And you guys shouldn't have gotten out-rebounded against that team. You have the height. Right. You speak about a lot. So what kind of things, rebounding-wise, and maybe even lineup-wise, are you going to bring in North College Hill on senior night?
Yeah, well, on senior night, as a tradition that we have here, and a lot of schools do, we will start 5 of our seniors. We haven't decided which 5, just yet, but it will be our 5 seniors, and we definitely,
because there's 8 of them, right?
Yeah. So we got to figure. We still got to figure that out. But obviously rebounding is a big concern of ours. But over the past week, the coaches and I, we've really broken down that first game and that first film, and one, we held them to their lowest scoring output of the season. 2, we scored our lowest scoring output of the season. We held them when we were able to make them run offense. We held them to 26% shooting from the field. I mean, they just couldn't score against our base defense. Where the game was lost for us was one, rebounding. We could not rebound the basketball. We gave them too many chances.
And whose shoulders does that rely on?
It relies on us as the coaching staff to implore upon the guys that hey, it takes 5. It takes 5. When they shoot the basketball, we got to get 5 guys blocking out 5 guys to the glass, and when we do that, that should correct itself. And secondly, when we shoot the ball, we got to get back on defense. I mean, they scored majority on their points of them offensive rebounding the basketball, firing that thing up, one pass and shooting a layup. We eliminate that and make this a half-court game. We like our chances, but if we don't do those things, we won't be successful.
Okay. Gotcha. So, outside the seniors, who's going to be a player that you're going to be inserting into the lineup after they get their moment and really kind of make that impact that you're talking about to get on the glass, get back on defense? Who's somebody that you have in mind that you really want to have a good game?
Not so much, getting on the glass, but the last couple games we had started, the freshman Chauncey, and he gives us a spark, another ball handler on the floor. Okay. He helps conserve some of Bryce's energy. Bryce has seen every defense in the world the last 15 games after everyone realized they must have realized that, oh hey, heck, he's pretty good.
He's second leading scorer in the city. Yeah. Someone's got to be good about him.
So he's seeing a lot of attention, and Chauncey helps take some of that attention, that ball handling. With that, we get smaller. And so, his job will be to make sure he's that guy getting back into center field and make sure that he's making sure that they can't make that first easy outlet pass and make them pull it down, a little bit. And that'll give us, another punch. We're going to rely on, Noah and Alonzo to be able to help us on those boards. And,
good.
We'll do it by committee, and just understand it takes 5 of us.
All right. Well, I'm pulling for you. I'll be on the sidelines on the Cube, broadcasting live, and so let's transition finally into our playoff game or our tournament game, so to speak. We pulled Cincinnati Country Day, and not to be confused with Summit Country Day because I know they have the similar names. It's, so talk to us a little bit about the playoff structure and how they're seated, because you have some teams that get a bye, like Deer Park, who has 1 win on the season. Right. Deer Park, 1 win on the season, and then you have a team like Roger Bacon, who has done well in the co-ed, the GCL co-ed, and you're thinking, well, what's going on here? And then we end up with an 8 seed, and we're playing Cincinnati Country Day, who has a 7 seed, and we beat them by 16 points early in the season. We're like, what's going on here? It doesn't make any sense. So shine some light on it.
Well, the Ohio High School basketball tournament is special in that it's like nothing else. And you think basketball tournament, you think the NCAA tournament. For those that don't know, the way that the tournament works is about 2 weeks ago, we all voted, on who we thought the best team in our
We all meaning the coaches.
The coaches, correct. Who we thought the best team was, all the way down to who we thought the worst team was. Based off of where we ranked those teams, you got a point total. And whatever your point total is, 300 number 1, 299 number 2, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. That being said, the number 1 seed this year was Purcell Marion. Purcell Marion had their choice to go anywhere on the bracket line of 3 different sectionals. Mm-hmm. So they chose, line number 4, I believe, in Loveland. Mm-hmm. And they chose there. Now from there, the number 2 seed, Roger Bacon, can choose to go wherever they want inside the seeds, and that's how it works. So when it came to us, our bracket in Western Brown started to fill up, and we had CHCA on the top line of the bottom half. We had CCD, a row down, and so we thought, heck, let's go. That's a good matchup for us. Mm-hmm. Let's go there, and hopefully get a chance to go play CHCA. Again the next game. All works out, we're playing Roger Bacon for a sectional title. So
yeah, and your line of thinking then is not necessarily location but matchups,
right?
Because Western Brown is in Mount Orab.
Yes,
it's not a nice drive.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's over near like 32. It's a little far away. It's not Loveland where Purcell is.
Right.
So from that aspect, that was your line of thinking going into that game. And why did you think it was such a good matchup for you? I mean, obviously you beat them by 16 points. There were some people that stepped up for CCD in that game that weren't necessarily contributors. You shut them down with your defense. You limited them to 1 shots, and then the defensive rebounds was really well done by your team. So why do you think that was a good matchup for you going into that game?
We feel based off of our team and their team that was a good matchup for us, as opposed to maybe going somewhere else and seeing maybe Williamsburg or Blanchester, and then going immediately to play Purcell Marion or Summit or something
have a longer chance, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we feel that we match up well against Cincinnati Country Day, and we feel that we also match up well against CHCA, and those are 2 teams that we feel if we play our best basketball that we can get.
Okay. That's fair. And I mean, right now they're playing some really good basketball. I mean, we beat them by 16, but then that was on the 5th of January, and right after that they won 5 straight.
Right.
had a 2-3 record after those 5 games that they won, and even though they were 2-3, they were very close games, and they're playing some good basketball right now. So it'll be interesting to watch. That's next Saturday. So we got this Friday. We have senior night here at Clark Montessori High School. Then we have our tournament game next Saturday, the 20th. So please tune in. Darnell Parker, last time this regular season, it was a pleasure, sir.
Appreciate it.
If we when we end up beating Cincinnati Country Day in the tournament, please join us for our coaches show going to the CHA, because that is going to be a big game for us. If they do, it will be following Wednesday. So we'll have it probably maybe that Tuesday or something. But stay tuned, figure that out. My name is Patrick Lewis. Hope to see you on the Cube tomorrow night, 7:30. Please tune in for senior night.